From Toronto, a gentleman and an architect, Tye Farrow.
When David asked me to do this, I started thinking this is sort of like speed dating with ideas. And since I haven't done speed dating, I felt a little worried about what the outcome of this 5 minutes would be, but let's give it a try. What I want to talk to you about is the quest to end obesity. And one of the most fascinating things that some research that I just saw recently was that pet rats, little pet rats that are allowed to run around their own environment that's stimulating and interesting, they are healthier, happier, and in fact, their brains produce 3 times more neurons than cage rats. And that began in my mind's eye to begin to think that we as people need to begin to start thinking outside of the cage, as it were, and begin to understand what our environment has to do with either increasing or enhancing our health or working against it. What we do know that well-designed, stimulating environments have the ability to eliminate the root causes of obesity. But what we need to be able to do as people is to understand the contrast between what makes fit environments as opposed to those that create fat environments or obesogenic environments, of which we're all familiar with in our daily lives. What we need to be able to do is to analyze these environments with our eyes to understand what these places begin to do to enhance our health, and also look at the research that's out there that supports the idea that environments that are boring, uninteresting, and unnatural discourage us from moving about in physical activity in the environments and the communities of which we live in. But the question is, though, why do we accept these types of unnatural environments? Are we happy to be sitting on our lazy boy recliner chairs in our living rooms watching the Nature Channel? How can we take these types of environments and make them regenerative for us? Here's an example of a design that was done by a gentleman, Neville Mars, who created solar plug-in stations for electric cars that would be put in parking garages or parking lots that would also create shadow and would create areas that would encourage you and want and stimulate you to move through them. But we need to begin to accelerate a societal change in looking at the environments around us that begins to take us, you, that creates you as people that are critics about the spaces that you see around you, that begin to look at each individual place and piece of these areas, and instead of turning a blind eye to them, turns a critical eye to what these environments are doing to enhance your health or to reduce your health and create illness. We need to look at all environments. We need to look at our urban environments, our streetscapes, the areas that we move, we walk, the suburban areas. We need to look at our buildings that we occupy. How many of you walk into your office building or where you work, and the first thing you see in front of you is an elevator? Or do you see a light-filled, stimulating stair that will encourage you and uplift your spirit to move through it, as opposed to the typical exit stair that you see that you don't feel safe moving through? Why don't we create fitness stairs that are part of parking garages, that when you park your car, you move out, and it's enjoyable to move and walk through, ambulate through the environment? Here's the stair in Sweden. If you look at the left of the stair, the black and white stripes, those are keys of a piano, and when you walk up them, the music begins to play. So is this more expensive? Can we afford to invest in our own health, in creating our own health? It pales in comparison to the $150 billion we're spending on what's called health care, but in fact is illness care. How many people work in a hospital corridor, walk through drab, desperate corridors that look exactly like this? And now when we're planning our hospitals, there's lots of discussions, which is important, about lean design, creating the shortest paths to walk and move through. But it's not only about the distance you travel, the shortest route. It's about the quality of that environment that you move through, that's uplifting, that's invigorating. This is a hospital we designed and we've just opened, 10% under budget, and the staff walk through this every day on their way to their job. The patients come in and are uplifted, spiritually uplifted and invigorated, encouraged to move through the environment. What we need to do is shift to that position where, how many of you remember walking into your working environment probably 25, 30 years or so ago, and there'd be a guy smoking a pipe and a pile of cigarettes at the desk? Or similar to this image, where now you begin to look at it, and there's a gut-wrenching emotional reaction that this is wrong for the health of what we are all about. We need to shift that now, that emotional response, that gut-wrenching response, that these type of environments are working against my health and they're increasing the cost of the healthcare system or the illness care system. And when we get to that mindset, at that point in time, this pre-prevention initiative, the way I think of it, is that we will shift away and begin to stop us all becoming fat rats or fat marshmallows, that the environments are costing and creating a tsunami of healthcare issues that are washing over our hospital or our illness system. Thank you.